All right, guys, let's talk a little bit more about drawing in perspective. And this is a great exercise. Excuse me one moment, I have to get my pen. And this exercise is great for practice. Kind of gives you something practical to draw, and it allows you to explore the visualization of, anything from objects to spaces to angles and arcs and things like that. And of course, you only take it really as far as you feel like you need to take it to. But I do want you to try this, draw this out. And of course, my Architecture 2 and Practicum students have already done this year. You can get more credit for it if you want to do it again. But for Architecture 1, you haven't been introduced to this. So you can certainly get credit for doing this one. So first you want to choose a horizon line, and what I want to do is I want to put myself kind of low on the ground. So my horizon line is going to be up a little bit high. I think that will work. Okay, so there's the horizon line, and this one right here would represent a real horizon. And hopefully, if you see some of the drawings on the back side, hopefully that doesn't mess up your visualization, but I just used the same sheet over again. So we need some points. We need some vanishing points right here. Now, a lot of times your vanishing points really won't even exist on the paper, depending on what you're drawing, how large it is, whatever. Sometimes your vanishing points are kind of more metaphorical, and they're actually way out to the sides. But this is how I will start my cityscape drawing, and I'm just going to draw a couple of, or actually one that way, one this way. Okay, so these are my kind of my vanishing lines. All right, and again, those are more or less metaphorical in a lot of cases. Okay, I'll draw a couple more, and I'm just guessing where to draw these. I don't really have a specific point. And I think it's actually going to turn out kind of high on the horizon instead of low like I wanted it to, but that's all right. All right, now what we want to do is we want to get some straight vertical lines. So you have to be good about lining up your ruler and making some straight lines going from that top vanishing line to the bottom. And what these lines represent, they just represent buildings. Okay, some of them will represent spaces between buildings, which is what I'm about to do right now. Okay, and actually this line needs to come up this way, kind of meet right at that corner. So this one, no good for now. You can make these whatever size, whatever style that you want to. Okay, so that gets me started. You can probably begin seeing some of these buildings in the view, and you probably see it better if I go ahead and erase some lines. So I'll go ahead and erase the horizon line. And you should be able to kind of start seeing some of the buildings. Some of you may have done this in art class. I know some art teachers use the same exercise to teach, perspective. Okay, so this right here, since it is the space between the building, I'm going to have a line that kind of represents the building going back this way. So I kind of use this vanishing point, kind of line it up right there, and put the base of the building right there. Okay, so you can probably see that. And of course those buildings also have a top, so I'll do the same at the top. I think that one might be off a little bit, but you may not even notice. Okay, so now you can really start to see some of it kind of beginning to pop out. And of course on these buildings you can draw any type of facade, curtain type system, what have you. So I'm going to do on this one, this is going to be a glass curtain wall, and I'm just kind of offsetting it a little bit so it sort of pops out. Okay, and then what we'll do for the windows and the kind of the separations between, hope you didn't have to look at my head there, sorry, the window sets. And of course you can space these manually, or you can use a ruler to kind of space these evenly. And I'm still using this vanishing point to draw these lines right over here. And it's the same concept. Things get smaller the further they are away from you. I think I got those pretty evenly spaced. Okay, so there's the horizontal lines that make up that system. Now we'll draw some vertical lines. Hopefully I can draw them all straight. Oops, that one wasn't very good. That's better. Okay. All right. So, now of course we can kind of start adding some depth to that. And all that I really do to add depth is just kind of darken in some of the panel sides that would be affected by the way that I'm looking at it. Okay, so you can see that one, and then I'll do this one under it. It might give you a little better idea. Okay, so I'm just kind of working on the bottom and the side. Then of course once we'll get down a little bit lower, I'll really want to focus on the top and side. Of each panel. Okay, so I mean, it may be popping out to you, it may not be. Actually, I don't think it is to me, but you kind of get the idea. And of course, you can use rulers to do all this with, or you could do some freehand. I'm doing a lot of freehand on it. Okay, so basically if I was to continue doing that, that's kind of what I would end up with, is, being able to kind of see the structure of those window sets. Other types of windows you might not always see like a regular window set. You might see maybe a storefront window. Maybe there is a storefront here. And this we could probably add a little bit more depth to, a little bit easier to add depth to it. Okay, so the way I'm looking at it right here, I would be able to kind of see the inside of the window structure here and across the bottom. Okay, and then that can probably start to come through for you. Of course, there's no door there, but you would do a door kind of the same way. Okay, so hopefully some of that is coming through. So yeah, I would just kind of continue doing this, you know, adding light, shadow, things like that. You know, shadow would affect things like, well, this building side right here, with the sun coming down from whatever direction, really is going to give you a lot of shade. So what we'll do, like right here would be the pavement, the part you walk on, you know, the ground. So it'll kind of get a darker treatment. And then right in here, we'll put a much lighter treatment on the wall that forms one of the sides. Okay, so then you can probably start to see that pop out just a little bit. Okay. And of course, you know, kind of darken your edges a little bit, kind of give it a little bit more dimension, a little more depth. Okay, and so you continue on like this, just, you know, drawing different components, you know, windows, doors. You might, you know, get a little daring and maybe put some balconies with some plants and things like that on it, to, you know, give it some life. May even put some people on there. I usually do a sidewalk on mine, like so. So that's the sidewalk. A lot of times I'll curve the corner. And then of course create some depth by, you know, kind of making the bottom of the curve. You know, the curve's usually suspended above the road just a little bit, about 6 to 8 inches in a lot of cases. Okay, so same thing. Curve that. And as you go, of course, you'll get a little bit better and, you know, kind of start making corrections and things like that as you go, and things will look a bit more realistic. Okay, so if this is my sometimes doing the shading with hatching or whatever tends to be a bit tedious, but that kind of gives my curve that dimension that I'm looking for by kind of putting these hatches in here, these vertical hatchings. Okay, so you can kind of, you know, start to see that a little bit. Sometimes I might leave a little blank spot to kind of help with that depth. So I might leave that spot there a little blank. And then kind of go around, maybe sort of humanize some of your lines, because none of these things are really perfectly straight. So just kind of doing some darkening in of the lines, and you don't have to get it right on the line, just kind of off the line just a little bit. Okay, same thing there. Really light treatment on the inside. All right, just like that. So you should get the picture now, and you can kind of have an idea of what it is that you need to do. I'll go ahead and finish this sketch out and come back and show you my finished product. And once you finish yours, please do take a picture of that and upload it to Schoology so I can see it, and what have you. Give you any pointers or anything like that. If you have any questions, please ask. Okay, and this isn't anything formal, so be really creative with it, and we'll see you when you're through. All right, so hopefully this will give you some kind of an idea of what everything should relatively look like. It doesn't have to look just like this, and a lot of times your first attempt is not very good at all. This is actually one of my few attempts of doing this without any kind, well, I did the main lines with a ruler, but a lot of the stuff in here I did not use a ruler. I just kind of freehanded. Some of the siding work, brickwork, block work, things like that. I just kind of freehanded that kind of stuff. A lot of the shading. Kind of played with shadows here just a little bit, assuming my sun was up over here and causing a shadow over here on this side of the buildings. And so just kind of play with it like that. And you might start getting a little frustrated as you're doing it, thinking it doesn't look good, but it's because, for one, it's because you are very close to it. And of course I know you want to do your best, but typically art is observed from a distance, not as close as you are as you're drawing it. Okay, so I'm sure this picture probably looks better to some of you guys on video than it does to me right now. But again, these are just some of the concepts. This is a good practice exercise for understanding and exploring things like your angles and your lines and your shadow, dimension. And I did not put, I put a couple of arcs in here on some of the windows, so you can kind of explore that and see what it takes to get one of those to look correct. But that's it for this project. Please do share your work with me. Upload it to Schoology into this assignment, and let me see what it is that you can do, what you were able to get accomplished. And I would greatly appreciate that. I hope you enjoy this activity, and I'll have some more activities coming up on kind of getting you closer to being able to really do this really well. So stay tuned.